Now, why does it have to be Joe Hoffel and Jim Matthews? Just because he's chairman and vice chairman, it's still 3 individual votes. Can't you and Jim be voting as one unit all the time on issues?
There's no requirement. When issues arise that I think are good for Montgomery County, I vote yes on them. If the other two happen to vote yes, then it's great. If I think it's bad, then I vote no. Right now, Jim Matthews has voted with the Democrat Hoffel 100% of the time. I have cast more no votes in 2.5 months, than my predecessor as minority commissioner, Ruth Damsker, cast in 8 years. Because I refuse to hire all the cronies. Do you know we hired five failed Democratic candidates? 2 guys who ran for senator and both lost, and 3 guys who ran in this election.
Now, is that Joe Hoffel's doing, or is that both of their doing?
Both of them. You couldn't hire them without Matthews' vote.
Now, Joe Hoffel ran a campaign campaigning against the patronage and cronyism that took place in Montgomery County politics. You're telling me that Joe Hoffel is basically partaking in the same kind of politics?
Oh, the Democrats have both their hands in the cookie jar and they're shoveling it into their face as fast as they can.
So you would say that Joe Hoffel is a hypocrite?
Oh, sure. He's a hypocrite of the first rank. The first thing he did was hire a couple of his cronies. You know, one guy we hired, Jim Meza, he's paid $90,000 a year. Now, this is a good job if you can get it. He works 5 out of every 10 days for $90,000 a year. That's at a rate of $180,000 a year, right? That's pretty obvious math.
And that's purely because he's Joe Hoffel's friend?
He's Joe Hoffel's buddy. That's more than the governor's paid.
Now, Joe Hoffel would say, well, he's the most qualified candidate. Do jobs like this get put out for bid, and is there a certain amount of fairness to bringing in people that you feel comfortable with?
Absolutely.
Or is this patronage?
There's nothing wrong with hiring people that you feel comfortable with for existing jobs. But in fact, we expanded the staff by 2 spots so we could hire these 2 cronies, paying them all this money. I mean, listen. The county commissioner's paid $85,000 a year. This guy's more important to the operation than a county commissioner.
Okay, let's hold that thought. There's a lot I want to cover here. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back right after this message. Thanks. I want you to answer this question as honestly as you can regarding how most people, and it's how I see politicians, and I think it's the biggest problem we have in politics today. I'd say 99% of every politician I see on TV or read about is about this. They use, that's my key word here, they use issues, because issues are the only thing that matter in politics. They use issues to advance themselves politically. Where are the politicians, and maybe you're one of them, who use politics to advance an issue? In other words, where are the politicians that have a conviction about an issue and not so much a conviction about their own ambition? And I'd like you to answer that regarding yourself, how you see politicians, and how you feel your 2 comrades fall into this picture.
Well, Chris, I think I'm about the worst politician that you could possibly be, because I say what I think is true. I try to advance the interests that I think that Montgomery County residents want advanced. And you know, you're not going to get everyone to agree with you all the time. You have to do what you think is right. In the district attorney's office, there was a sort of what we called a prime directive, something out of Star Trek. Is you always do the right thing for the right reason every time. Do the right thing for the right reason every time. Sometimes that makes you unpopular, and sometimes that is the popular thing. And many times in my years in government service, I've thought to myself, you know, why put up with all this nonsense? Why do I have to read all these lies in the newspaper and things like that? And I think to myself, well, this is why people worth a damn don't get involved in politics. It's too sleazy, it's too dirty, and it's not worth the hassle. And then I always think beyond that if I didn't agree to do with it, then only people who weren't worth a damn would be in politics. And you see, the whole idea of being involved in government service, remember, I was in the DA's office for 23 years. I mean, it so happened I kept moving up the ladder. But I wasn't off running for state house or state senate or this or that. I wanted to be a prosecutor. When I ran for state attorney general, I just wanted to do prosecution type stuff on a larger scale. And it finally reached the point where I realized that I had accomplished everything I could think of to accomplish in the DA's office. I liked the feeling I got when I was able to help people on an important issue, and I wanted to do that on the county commissioner level. And that was why I decided to run for county commissioner.
So you're in politics because you're really trying to advance issues and not your own career.
Well, right. I mean, I'm happy with my career. I have, you know.
Let me ask you: are the other two individuals in politics because it's all about their ambition and their adulation, or are they in it because there are real issues? Do they have convictions and things that they believe in, and so they have to be in politics to achieve these ends?
I haven't seen that. I mean, you did some of the resume for Joe Huffle. You remember that he was a township commissioner, and then he was a state house member, and then he.
Sure, I didn't cover it all. It's hard.
Yeah,
we need an hour to cover all.
Sure, I mean he's run for office continuously, one after the other, all designed to move up. Ultimately,
it seems to be all about Joe Huffle, with Joe Huffle.
Oh, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, the reason he ran for commissioner was he was going to be the great savior of Montgomery County, and he was going to take Montgomery County back for the Democrats. That was what he was going to do after his failed Senate bid. And that's how you suck in somebody like Joe Huffle. You're going to be the hero. You're going to take back Montgomery County. Well, on November 6th, we thought that had failed, and we had finally killed the multi-headed beast who is Joe Huffle. Turns out we were wrong, and in fact, he is the big savior and hero of the Democratic Party here in Montgomery County.
Welcome back to Abington News and Views. I'm Christopher Dean, and we're speaking with Montgomery County Commissioner Bruce Castor. Bruce, next question regarding sharing power. You had suggested that the three of you, we didn't so much need a chairman and a vice chairman. We could have three equal parts here, three equal members. Jim Matthews says absolutely not possible. Is it possible? How would it be done? And if you could be a little bit brief with that answer.
Well, not only is it possible, in fact, there is no provision in the county code for anybody to be the chairman or the vice chairman. The code is silent on that. That's just a custom that has arisen. There's no requirement that there even is one.
So it's possible.
Possible. That, I mean, if the legislature wanted you to have a chairman, they'd have made you have one. There is no requirement.
Is it even relevant that there's a chairman and vice
No.
chairman? Does it even matter?
No. All of the commissioners have the same power. You're talking about a title. But the idea that I had was that we would take the county departments and we would divide them into thirds, and each one of the commissioners would be the primary commissioner for those series of departments. Kind of like you do when you're a township commissioner, you might have somebody who's the chairman of the public safety committee, and somebody who's the chairman of the zoning committee, or whatever it is, and then they would report back to the group, and the group would make a decision. And I thought that would be a good way to divide the government structure, that each one of us would have major primary responsibility over a third of it, subject to approval from the other two when major decisions had to be made. That's true power sharing.
Okay, Jim Matthews has said you are not qualified to be chairman, that you defer to him on all political decisions. You are a great prosecutor, but you're new to politics, that he is more qualified. Truth?
I don't think that Jim Matthews is more qualified to do anything at all. Now, I might have,
not true.
Not true. I mean, I might have thought there was some validity to that before I got to know him so well.